So, who here is all ready to find out a wee bit more about Canva? Just give us a raise of your hand, just to let us know that you're in the room. You're not so distracted eating dinner or whatever. You've got pen and paper, whatever you do for Canva. So, it's my pleasure tonight to really introduce to you Jenny Moutou, who is a Canva ninja. She will swear to you she is not. But I've seen some of the designs that she does, and they're just absolutely stunning and outstanding. And the speed at which she whips these up is just astounding. So she's in Canva. I know if I've used Photoshop before. I use Photoshop for some of these things. It takes hours and hours and hours. But what she's able to create in just minutes is absolutely incredible. So a bit about Jenny. She is... she's new to the Gold Coast, actually. I think she's only been here for about a year. She's lives in Western Australia for a good chunk of her life. She worked for a security firm in cyber security. She worked in finance. A little known fact that you may not know about her, for those that do know Jenny, she's got an MBA. So she is a business master as well too, master of business. And to get to the Gold Coast, she didn't do what any ordinary person would do, and that's to jump on a plane and fly over. She jumped in her car and she drove from Perth to the Gold Coast via Darwin, of all places. So she didn't take the quick route, she took the long way round. And here she is in the Gold Coast, and she's here tonight to talk to us about how to become a ninja Canva creator, even if you've got the skills or design skills of a chicken. So let's give a big rousing round of applause for Jenny Moutou.
Thanks, Nick. I really appreciate that introduction. I just want to check and do a sound check, make sure you can hear me okay. Excellent. And I am presenting from my mum's study today, so we've kind of kicked her out. And there might be some background noise, but hopefully it should be all right. I am so excited about presenting tonight, only because when I suggested to Nick that we do a session on this, because I've, encountering people in small business who are constantly making lead magnets and different products and services for their business, I could see that this could be quite a topic of interest. And indeed, Nick agreed. So for those of you who don't know, let me introduce Canva as the graphic design tool for non-graphic designers that is now being used by graphic designers, as Nick said. So I wanted to start off by sharing my screen, and let me see if I can do that successfully. So can you all see that? Yeah, and I'm assuming you can see Canva like a ninja, right? Yeah. So I'm going to get started straight away into having a look at what you can do with Canva by starting with this template. So one of the things I love about Canva is the fact that you're never starting with a blank canvas. I don't know about you, but I love being creative. And one of the most daunting things about being creative, whether I'm writing, drawing, or anything, is starting with that blank canvas. So with Canva, you can actually pull out some templates. Now, I'm being a little cheeky today. I actually pulled this image out of just an internet search of the word ninja and pulled that image from there and uploaded it into Canva. So Canva has this section here for uploads, and literally any images that you want to upload get put into this section. From there, I actually downloaded. So did you know that you can download images from Pixabay, but you can also download sounds from Pixabay? So that's what I did. I went into Pixabay, found some music, and actually uploaded it here into Canva. So if I start by presenting, you'll hear some music and you'll see how this looks. So let me just do that. If it's going to do this now. Hang on. Here we go. Wouldn't you know it, the tech issue would have to happen, right? Let's try again. And present. And that's the product of what I created today. So just so you know, I was literally able to do that in about 5 minutes, but I want to show you where I started. So what I actually started with was a template that looked like this. And essentially, as I said to you, I went in and changed, firstly, the graphic to say Canva like a ninja, and then uploaded the image that I wanted, and literally just started deleting anything that I didn't want in that image. So we've got the flowers, we've got the banner here, we've got this little really great site.com wording, and then just move things around. So all of this is able to be moved around. And actually, it wasn't looking exactly how I wanted it to. So in the section for images, so into elements, you can have a look at graphics. I simply typed in the word Japanese, found this graphic here, pulled it across, and then changed the color, and then just positioned it where I wanted it to go. So I know I've been a bit fast with how I've done that, but I just wanted to show you what was possible in Canva as a finished product, and just how quickly you can pull something together like that. So let's get rid of this, and let's start with the kinds of things that you can use Canva for. So Canva is a fantastic tool, as I said, for graphic design. And as we were talking about this, we came up actually with a list of about 40 different things. So obviously you can use Canva for social media content, for photo editing, for creating YouTube thumbnails or podcast thumbnails. I've used Canva to create resumes before, or presentations, infographics, blog post covers, logos. I think, Roger, you mentioned that you had some pictures of surf, and you're using that in your newsletters or on websites. All of that can be done in Canva, and the list goes on. So let me tell you a little story. Recently, I went to see Ed Sheeran. Did anyone else go see Ed Sheeran while he was in town? A few of you, maybe? One of the great things about going to Ed Sheeran was that as we were walking up to the stadium, there are some people that had Ed Sheeran t-shirts for sale. Now, these are copy products that are just as good, if not better, than the real product. And essentially what they've done is created a stencil, put it on a t-shirt, and all of that could have been done in Canva. So can you guess how much the t-shirts that the copiers were selling the Ed Sheeran concert tickets for, or the Ed Sheeran concert t-shirts for? Anyone?
$50.
$50? Yeah, what, for a copy version, Paul, you reckon?
Yeah,
They're actually
face on the shirt.
It's literally, actually, I don't even think it was that. It was his album cover and everything to do with that particular concert. And essentially they were selling these t-shirts, Azim, $200. Not quite. Get this, they were selling these copy t-shirts for $20. So if you manage to stop by one of these, you know, how would we call them, Nick? Like the on the street kind of, you know, deal, you could pick up an Ed Sheeran concert ticket, concert t-shirt for $20. Guess how much it was at the concert venue? Anyone? All right, so these t-shirts were selling for, again, as you know, not quite 200, but you know, $70. So it's really interesting to see how that you can actually produce merchandise from this. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Justin Herald. Justin Herald created the t-shirt brand called Attitude. He went from creating this brand and it costing him $50 to making $1 million business out of the label Attitude. I actually contacted Justin tonight just before this session because it occurred to me that if Justin had Canva, I wonder what he could have done. And he said he has no graphic design skills at all. He actually had to get somebody else to do that for him. Because going back to that original comment I made, he's not very good at starting with a blank slate. Anyway, enough about Justin. Let's keep going. I'd like to get you, when we did some surveys about how do people use Canva, a lot of the things that came back were around social media posts. They were around presentations, using documents, videos, photo editing, landing pages. But did you know that Canva can actually also create, that Canva has an AI feature? Did you know that? Feel free to speak to me, guys. Yes, no.
Yeah,
You can also
just started using it in the last couple of weeks, and it's amazing.
It is amazing, Ryan. I'm actually going to go through it a little bit tonight. What about interactive quizzes? So you can use quizzes as lead magnets as part of your website, and Canva can actually do that as well. Canva can actually create QR codes, 3D book covers, comic strips, and a whole bunch more. So let's get started. The first thing I actually want to start with is, if you're anything like me, choosing colors can be one of the hardest things to do in terms of how you're going to create your designs. So Canva actually makes this really easy by giving you a color generator. So if you can see my screen here, you can see that there is a color generator in here. And the great thing about Canva is that you can literally, if you don't know where to find these things, just do a Google search for what you're looking for, Canva generator, color generator, and it brings it straight up. There you go, the palette generator. So in this, it gives you some ideas for how to come up with some colors. Now, what I like about this the most is that I can actually upload a picture into this section of Canva straight from my computer, and it will generate a color palette for me. There we go. So if I was going to create this image or use this image to then create a post, an Insta post, a Facebook post, or if these kind of images were what I was going to use for my website, it would then give me an idea of the kinds of colors that I could use. And then of course you've got the hex codes here, so it's really easy to see what they are, and you can also copy them if you want to. So that's one example here of the palette generator and how you can use that. And if you scroll down here, you can actually see that Canva will give you a whole bunch of color combinations. So again, if you're looking for something in terms of colors and what goes with what, because sometimes we can start with a primary color that we are sure of, but then we don't know what goes with it, and it can take quite a bit of time to figure that out. So next from here, we can actually go into the color wheel. So this color wheel is fantastic insofar as, again, if I want to start with a particular color. So if I wanted to start with purple, I could then grab this larger circle here and drag it over to the shade of purple that I want the most. So I kind of like that purple, and so I'm going to go with that. Now, what you'll notice here is that there's some other circles on this page. Can everybody see those? Those smaller circles? Yep. So if you click down here, Canva actually gives you an option to choose what kind of other colors do you want to go with that purple. Do you want complementary colors? Not sure what complementary colors means? If you just scroll down the page, it actually tells you. So here it's two colors that are opposite sides of the color wheel. And this combination provides a high contrast, high impact color combination. Really great for people like me who didn't study art, but are creative and want to know what's going to be best on a screen. Next, we can go to monochromatic. And again, it tells you what's going on. So these are 3 shade tones and tints of one base color. And now I can never say this. And can you help me out, Nick? What does this say?
That would be analogous.
Analogous, that's it. I think Mum helped me out with that earlier. Right. So these are 3 colors that sit side by side on the color wheel. And again, you can see that here. And you can change the shade. So if you just wanted to change one of these, you can actually just go along and see what that would look like against the others there. Really amazing features. I really encourage you to go in and have a little play with this as much as possible. If I'm going too fast, please let me know. I'm super excited about all of this, so I think I'm just buzzing a little bit. Next on here is the triadic. And again, if we scroll down, you'll see that triadic is 3 colors that are evenly spaced on the color wheel. So what I want to draw your attention to here is the larger circle on my screen, if I actually move that towards the purple that I'm looking for, well, let's get a purple. Every time I move that, those other two circles will move to show exactly what is evenly spaced on the color wheel for that particular shade of purple. And as I go around, you can see that that will just continually change depending on where I put that larger circle. So again, really great for creating color schemes for your posts, particularly if you're looking for branding purposes and you want everything to have a consistent look and feel. This is a great way to sort of come up with some ideas there. And then the last one is just the 4 colors that are evenly spaced. So again, if I change this, it's then going to show you 4 colors on the color wheel that are evenly spaced. Right, so where do we go from here? Well, I'm going to choose the triadic because I really quite like that. And I'm going to go with a color that looks something like that, for instance. And now I'm actually, so I have the option of exporting this palette, or I have the option of creating a graphic. Now, because I like this color scheme, I'm going to create a graphic and I'm going to actually click on that. So watch what Canva does when I do that. It'll actually bring up a whole new page. And the internet's running a little slow. Great. And so you see up here, it says pink, yellow, and turquoise templates. So as I said before, you never start with a blank screen unless you want to. And Canva will actually look into its database and pull out a whole bunch of templates that follow this particular color scheme. So you don't actually have to work too hard if you know what colors you want, or if you find some colors that you want to actually make this work for you. Now I can scroll through this and I can see that I've got some Instagram posts, I've got some Facebook posts. What else? There's a journal here, there's a presentation. So really, there's a logo, there's a gift certificate. It's giving me all different types of templates that I can choose from. And then if I pick something out, let's pick something here. If I pick something out, I can then use that particular template. So I'm just gonna go with this one for today, and I'm gonna customize this template. How's the pace, everybody? Is this all right? Are you following? Yep, excellent. Thank you.
Hey, can I ask a quick question? Sorry, can I ask?
Absolutely, Angelique, go for it.
You know, I missed step 1. How do you get into the palette generator?
Okay, great. So we just go up and basically all I'm doing is the easiest way to do this, because sometimes it's a little bit harder to find these things in Canva, is I will simply open the web browser, type in Canva, color generator, and off I go. And then it should return here, the color palette generator, the first one.
Okay.
So anything I show you tonight, and I've tested this a couple of times, if you're just putting in the keywords, so video Canva, QR code Canva, comic strip Canva, it will actually return it. So if that's all you're doing, you'll be able to find it quite easily from there, which is really handy. Okay, so where were we? We were here. All right, so this is my base design that I'm going to work with today. And with this, I want to show you a couple of things that you can do. So within Canva over here, you've got obviously different font types, and that will display, it'll display what font type you're using in this section. Over on the left-hand side, I picked this template, but if I decide actually, I don't really like this template at all, I'd like something else, I can have a look through what's on the left here and pick something else. But for now, this will be just fine. Now, there's a number of different things that we want to change. So Jeff, you're on the call. What would you like to change about this image or this presentation, this particular graphic? Anything?
Shape of the car.
Pardon?
Shape of the car.
the shape of the car. Oh my God, Ray, you're gonna you're really giving me a whopper there. All right, let's work towards that one. All right, I'm gonna park that one for a sec. So let's start with some of the colors and how they're looking. So if I wanted to very basically just change the colors, I could do that by clicking up here. So then Canva would give me a range of default colors. It's also giving me this section here, which you won't see when you open your Canva. And that's because I've created a color palette just for today, just to test out how this could work. So I'm going to go back and show you this in a little while. But essentially, if you had some brand colors and if you had some brand fonts, you would save them. And so they would come up here so that you're not consistently having to type in the hex code for that color. It makes it really handy and really super quick. Unfortunately, I've only just discovered that tool. So before that, I was literally trying to figure, what these colors were. So you can save that here. And if I decided, you know what, I'd actually like to make that car purple, I can do that by just clicking there. Now you'll see that there's two colors here. There's the purple and then there's the white. And if I wanted the white to be yellow, I would simply click that and you'd see how that happened. So let's just take that off for a second. We'll make it back to white. So there's some really easy ways. And obviously, if you don't like any of those colors, you would click on the plus sign and that would give you a range of different colors that you could choose from. And you can either do that by moving the cursor over the color palette itself or typing in a hex code or moving the bar across like that. All right. Now, let's have a look at the text on here. So right now, this text is in a font called New Wave. And I could potentially go through and select a whole bunch of different fonts if I wanted to. But sometimes I'm not feeling that creative or I need some more inspiration. So what I can do then is I can actually go up here in the design button. Has anybody here used that design button section before? No, I'm getting a few no's. I'm not seeing everybody on the screen. So I'm going to go with no. Okay, so let's have a look at what is in here. So when we go into design, we can actually click on the styles button and that will give us a whole range of different things. So one of the best things that it gives us is it gives us another section where we have some color palettes. Now, if we click on see all with the color palettes, it brings up a whole range. So up here, we've got the style of color palette we might want to look for, but we've also got a range of color palettes down the side. Now, what's awesome about this is that if I picked a color palette, so let's say that I picked quite a dynamic color palette of, let's go with this one. And I select, okay, I'm going to use this color palette. Canva then changes the colors on my screen automatically. Now, if I select that color palette again, it will go through the other colors that are in that color palette and start changing the images again. So every time I click on that color palette, I'm going to get a new look and feel with those same colors, which is pretty amazing. Again, if you're just struggling for inspiration, you could literally spend all day doing this kind of thing. Well, I've decided I actually don't really like that color palette at all. And maybe I'm going to go back to a purple kind of retro look and feel until I find something that I like. Let's see. Okay, let's go with that. That's looking pretty spectacular. So there's your color palettes. And I can now see that I've got two different color palettes happening. Can you guys see that? And that's not going to work. So if I click the apply to all pages down here, it will actually apply that color scheme to everything. So if I click that now, you'll see how it's automatically changed everything for me. Isn't that amazing? It just saves me so much time. So that's color palettes. And now I'm not really 100% on these fonts. Some of these fonts are a bit, not what I'm looking for. So again, I can go back to styles. I can go into the font sets and then see all. And it gives me a whole bunch of different font sets. So the same deal here. If I pick on, let's say I pick Horizon, it will change the fonts for me automatically. And it'll do that just on the page that I'm on. So you can see that this hasn't changed this page. It's just this one, which is great for, you know, if you, depending on what you want. And of course, if I wanted to have that font appear on everything, I would simply apply to all. But let's just have one more look at what it looks like if I change the font to something else. And there we have free car wash. And if I applied that to all, it would then do that there. So in Canva, there's different types of text. There's your heading, a subheading, and body text. So depending on the formatting of these will depend on which style they've picked up. So if I go back into here, you'll see this is hammers is actually the heading, and then play fair display is actually the body text. So anything that's formatted as body text will come up in that font, and anything that's a heading will come up in the hammers font. Is that making sense, guys? Yep. All right. So from here, let's also go back to this because I want to show you something that a lot of people probably don't know is in here. And that's like you can search templates. So let's start with a new Canva design. And I'll just delete this. And a new page. Right. I'm going to look for pandas. Well, why not? And I've got this particular panda, but you know, neither of these two designs are particularly appealing to me. And so I want to see what else is available. Now, I don't know how many people know this, but actually, if you go up here into the filters section and you click on this, you can pick a color. So if you picked a color, so I'm going to go with white, for instance, Canva will search through and see what is white that fits in with that panda theme. Nothing. Pink. Yep, nothing again. So it's actually removed that, and that's okay. So we'll go back to any color. Actually, we'll go back to taking a color out. And now we're going to choose a language. So let's choose Dutch, for instance. Nope, still no. All right, let me start again. Go to pandas, have a look at the filters. Let's pick, well, where are pandas? Pandas are in China, right? Maybe in India as well. Is there anything in there that's coming up? Oh, we've got something different. So really interesting to play with, to see what kind of designs come up, and then what happens when you pick a different country's designs, because what you'll see is you'll get more things down here than you would if you just left it at the default. So the default, let's say, is US English. Apply, we can see what's here. If we decide we don't really like what we can see in here, we can change that default. And let's go again to Dutch. And then you can see you'll get a different kind of look and feel. And now how different that look and feel is will just depend on who the designers are and what they've uploaded from that particular country. But just a great way to expand the kinds of templates that are available to you and that you can use. All right, so let's have a look at an image and let's do some photo editing. So I quite like this image and I want to see if I can do something with this. I'm going to start by actually removing the background of this image because I want to upload this to my website. So if I go over to here and I click edit image, now I have to say that this is on the paid version only. So if you don't have the paid version of Canva, you won't be able to do this. For the longest time, the free version of Canva was brilliant and you really didn't have to pay. Now that I've started paying for the pro version, I really can't see myself going back to the limited features, particularly because it becomes harder in the search section to find those free tools. So really easy to remove the background. I just click on the image. I go to the background remover. And it's going to take a little bit of time. Just depends on your internet, I think. And there we have it. So just to make that a little bit easier to see, I'm going to change the background color. And you can see now I've removed that quite successfully. And I can then go in and have a look at, well, what am I going to surround this girl with instead? Now I'm making this up on the fly here. So let's put some, actually, let's put some flowers in because we've just taken the trees off. So from here, I can pick a range of different things. So I can pick graphics, photos, videos, audio, frames, charts. So I'd like some graphics because she's in a photo and I'd like to give it that little bit of a contrast. And so over here, I've got, oops, not quite as big as I wanted it to be, and she's gone. So just clicking the either Control Z or the backspace key, I can actually restore that image and then bringing in a graphic. So I don't always want the graphic fully on that picture. Sometimes I just want it on the side. And I can also crop this image just so that it's not taking up so much space there. There we go. And I can place her behind the flower if I so wanted. Now, if I do a Control C and Control V, I've now got another flower there and I want to put it over here, but I don't want it to be in the front of her. I actually want it to be in the back of her. So I can go over to the position section and I can actually move that flower to the back. If I double click, it brings it to the very back of that image. Now she's just wanting to be a little bit further there. Actually, let's bring her forward. There we go. So that's another feature of Canva, is just removing the backgrounds of photos. And what's great about this, you can literally get a whole bunch of photos from anywhere. So going back to you, Roger, you talked about surf images. Obviously, you can go on Google and get a whole bunch of things like that, assuming you don't have your own. Or you can actually go into something like Unsplash or Pixabay and get some images from there. All of these are free. Generally, they like you to acknowledge the person that's taken the photos, just to give a shout out to them. But there's all sorts of things here. There's Australian pictures. So some of the problems that I've had in the past with some of these websites is that they're very American orientated. What's great about Unsplash is that there's people from all over the world posting photos. So just to show you, if I wanted a picture of Broome, for instance, I could literally type that in and there'd be people who would have posted pictures of Broome, and voila, put the camels on them. So easy to just download, click that button, save it, and then drag and drop into your, into this section here, and it will upload it automatically. I'm going to pause there just for a sec and just see if there's any other questions. No? All right, keep going. So the next part that I'd like to show you about this is actually the margins. Sometimes when you're doing work on Canva, it can be quite hard to see if things are lining up, particularly if you've got squares or you've got print that you want to make sure is actually all together. So let's get some print in there. Okay, so that's beautifully aligned with that top image, but actually I want to make sure that they're both aligned left. And I have this, and I'm going to align it left. And it just so happens it works, but if we're mucking around and we're doing different things, we don't necessarily know if that's going to work. So there's two ways you could do this. You could actually zoom right in and drag this over, and you'll see these lines coming up. That'll give you some indication of the alignment. If you don't want to do that, the other thing to do is actually to go into File and then go into View Settings and Show Margins. And this will, what's good about this is it'll show you where the margin is, but it'll also show you if you're outside of those margins. So if I was going to print this document, there's my kind of margin for being inside the print, and I can snap that in. So I can align the wording so that it actually fits in. And if I print this now, I know that it's in the safe zone. Whereas the take the next step wording is not quite there. So that's the margins. And then we've also got, oops, not what I wanted. Let's go back. I think there's a little bit of a lag on the internet here. Oh, and we've lost it altogether. Okay, let's start again. All right, let's keep moving. Right, well, this will show you. It's got, so the view settings, you've got the margins in there. If we take the margins out and we actually just show the rulers and grids, it'll show you how you can start to make sure that your text is aligned. So that'll show you exactly if this is working or not. So can you see that? All right. The other thing to have a look, sometimes when you're doing this kind of work, it's good to have a few shortcuts. Some of the shortcuts that you might use in Canva are things like making things bold. So simply Control B will help with that. So selecting and Control B. Unless there's no Control B feature, which happens to be the case in this particular font. Let's try again. So Control B will either take a font into bold or will take it out of bold. If I press L, just anywhere there, it will actually bring up a line. So if I wanted to just bring a distinction in between these sections, and then bring a line in there. And for whatever reason, it's not going to fit with this design, but if I decided actually I want to get rid of this and put in a square box instead, I could do that by going into Elements and choosing the square, or I could simply click on the page and type in the letter R, and it'll bring up a rectangle for me. So just some easy shortcuts that kind of save you some time and also just make things a little bit easier. The other thing I like about this particular tool is that you can then go in and add some comments. So if there are things that you like when you're picking out different templates, you can add comments in to help remind you about what that template has. The other way to do that actually is by clicking. Now, I don't know if it's going to come up with this one, so let's have a look. So if I pick this template and I really like it, and I'm going to use it again, I can do a couple of things. I can star it. So let's have a look. It's going to make it's completely disappeared on me. Oh my God. Let's come back to this. I'm gonna have a look at it. All right. So I've pulled this particular template out, and I want to be able to remember this template. So I've written some notes in the comments here in this section, and I've also gone along and I can have a look at information about this template. So some things I can see about this template is what it's called. I can see that it's a free template. There's some tags and some words associated with this template. And then if I wanted to, because I was going to use this template again, I could actually then go and star it. This is what I was looking for. So by starring it, it just saves it for me and it makes it really easy to see. So if I wanted to go back to this later on and I was signing into Canva to use it and come back to it, I could literally just do a search for any of the templates that I may have starred. And I would find that by going into templates, and anything that I've starred would show up here onto templates. And I could click that and I could have a look. These are the things that I've starred. All right. So before I run out of time, I actually wanted to go in and show you documents and show you how you can use documents for yourself. So obviously you can create all kinds of documents in Canva, and it gives you an opportunity to have a look at all the different templates. And you can also search for a specific type of template. We're actually going to start with a blank document today. Has anyone used the documents feature in Canva yet? No?
Yes, I have. I just recently made my intake form in there. It's really fancy. I absolutely love it. Yeah.
Okay, great. I have to admit, I haven't had much of a play of the documents, but I do use the presentations, and I will never go back to PowerPoint after using presentations and creating that in here. But this little plus button is quite fancy, and you can type in magic write, and we were just playing around with this, but let's see. Write a limerick. Did I spell that right? A limerick. So, oh, maybe I could spell this right, and then that would. So this is Canva's AI tool, and I've asked it to write a limerick about laundry. So let's have a look and see what it produces. In the laundry, I'm never at ease, sorting, washing, folding with ease. But when it's all done and my clothes are all spun, I'm grateful for fresh smelling teas. It's pretty terrible, actually. But from here, if you wanted to, and obviously we're just playing around today, but there's a whole bunch of things that you can do with this AI tool. You can literally then take this and convert it into a presentation if you wanted to, which is a new feature in Canva. Still a little bit buggy, but not too bad. You can then, so by converting it to a presentation, and it does tell you here that it is still new, you can then choose a template that you want for it. Oh, that looks pretty. Let's go with that one. And there you have it, a limerick about laundry. Now, if I wanted to, I could actually then just tidy this up a little bit. Take that out. And there's my presentation. Now obviously I'm just having fun with this today, and this is just featuring what some of the tools will actually do. And I would encourage you to have a bit of a play with it, because it is quite fantastic in that sense. Now, I would like, I did a poem the other day, so I used this tool to actually create a poem. Let's have a look. Just waiting for this to load.
So while this is loading, can I just quickly ask, how did you get that magic tool?
Okay, no problem. So it's in the document section, and you can either so on your question mark, you've got the / button. So you can either go into documents and click on the /, or you can go into documents and click on the plus sign. So by just clicking on the plus sign, you'll get it straight away. So from here, I created a poem about adulting. So I work with young women who are going through adulting. I created a poem for that, just using the AI tool in the document section. And this is what Canva produced. And then from here, we can actually resize it. So if I go to this, and you can think about this, like if you're creating Instagram posts, if you're creating Facebook posts, if you're creating LinkedIn banners, this is a really great tool, because before I discovered this, I would create a LinkedIn banner, and then because I wanted the same look and feel across all my socials, I'd then have to go and recreate this for all the different dimensions, right? And we can see what the sizes are, and I'll go back and just make sure that I tick that off. But I've created this poem. Well, I didn't create the poem. The AI tool created this poem about adulting. And I want to resize this now, because I'd actually like to post this on Instagram. So in the resizing section, can you see this little padlock section up the top here? This, if I click this, it will lock the aspect ratio of this poem. So where everything is will stay in that ratio. And now I can actually then click this Instagram post, because that's where what I'd like to do, and just simply click the resize. Now, if I was going to create a Facebook post out of this, I wouldn't click resize. I would click copy and resize, because then it would give me another version. So it would maintain this presentation version, and it would give me another version. But I'm just going to click resize and then have a look and see what it does. So here it's squashed everything together because I've locked the aspect ratio, and it's put it into automatically a size that will fit for Instagram. There we go. Now, if I wanted to, I could then edit this further and just bring those colors out. And I could make this larger, but the point is that it's done it for me. It's done all the hard work for me. So there's really little for me to do. And if I don't lock the aspect ratio, then chances are it will do all of that automatically, and I wouldn't have to fiddle at all. Like it would just, so you got to think about where is it important to lock the aspect ratio, and where are you quite happy for it to just do it automatically? Now from here, if I click on share and I had Instagram already connected to my Canva account, which you can do. So clicking share, you have these different options. So you can download, and then it gives you the option of what kind of file type you want. So it could be an image, and you can pick, you know, what format that image is in. You could pick a PDF and either print version, so it puts the bleed marks in there for you, or standard version without bleed marks. Then you've got SVG for web design and animations, MP4 for video or a GIF. So I'm not actually going to download this, because what I want to do is I want to go across and share this on social media. So if I click more and I look at the options that come up, I can then pick which option. So you just want to make sure that your socials, whichever you predominantly use, are connected. So you can, you know, you've got LinkedIn there, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, and actually Facebook groups as well. So if there's a particular group that you want to post to, you can do that. So again, I won't do that
for you,
now.
Jenny.
Go ahead, Paul.
Quick question. You've got that text box you've got all that text in. I've got a text box on the screen that I've actually made behind me, which I've done in Canva, and I've just had a bit of a fiddle with it, sort of following what you're doing. For the life of me, I cannot work out how to fill that text box with a color. Now that looks like it's got a color in it, but I've had to make a rectangle behind it with a color and drag the text box over the top of it. Well, surely we can fill.
That's exactly how you would do it, because that's exactly how you would do it, Paul.
Okay.
So just to demonstrate.
It just seemed clumsy, because if I change the color of to change the color of that background, I've got to drag the text off, change it, and then drag it back on.
Say that again.
To change that blue, for example, in the colored rectangle, I've got to drag the text box across to one side a bit, so that I can then click on the blue rectangle behind to try and change its color or transparency or the likes. And I thought surely we could actually just fill the text box. So we can't.
Have you used this feature of locking? So let me get in there, because I know what you're saying. Sometimes it is a bit fiddly. Have you gone in to lock position quickly?
No.
Okay. All right, so let's lock that position, and let's say that we then want to move this around. Do you see how I can do that without disturbing this at all?
Yeah.
And when you've got things that are really close together, where this is close to that, sometimes that can be super fiddly, especially if they're one over the other. But if you're locking this by simply clicking on those three dots, and then just it gives you the option to lock, then you can then move this around without disturbing everything else.
But let's say you wanted that box, the text box that has the words adulting down to get rough, let's say on a plain white background, without changing the background of the whole image.
Yeah.
I can't see a way to fill that text box.
Yeah, then I would literally drag over a rectangle, or type in R on my screen. And
like that, and then send it to the back.
So
Okay. That's what I've done. I thought madness. I must be missing something. Okay, thank you.
Try the lock feature, because even now you can see I can move this around because that's been locked, which allows me to grab things. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
So what about? Let's have a look. Again, we were playing with the AI feature about writing a poem about adulting in Dr. Seuss style, which was also quite interesting to see what that comes out with. I did want to show you how to make things appear in the background. So let's have a look. So let's create a banner, for instance. So if you want to imagine that this is Actually, let's not imagine. Let's bring it up and resize this for a banner. Banner, let's do that. Resize. I'm going to delete this and work with this and get rid of some of these. Hopefully that'll. All right. New page. Nick, how are we going for time?
We have about
2 hours.
Yeah, 2 hours for Paul, 2 minutes for the rest of us.
All right. So I'm going to get a picture of the surf here. And I'm also going to get a picture of a photo. Yep. A photo frame. So one of the cool things that you can do here is you could actually lock this into place. Look. And then have this image come into this picture. And then just resize it and actually change the angle of that image so that it looks like. So if you've got images, or if you've picked out images of, say, computer screens or things like that, this is what you can do with this. Right. Margins, rulers, magic right. I'm just going through my list here just to make sure that I've covered everything. The other part to explore, and I won't necessarily have a whole heap of time for this because I just want to leave some room for questions, is the apps. So if you click over on the left side of the menu, there are a whole bunch of different apps that you can have a look at. So another interesting app is this one, the AI tool of text to image. And we'll go with pandas. Again, so pandas writing in the fields, for instance, if that was a line in a poem that you were writing, you could then click create image. And it is AI. It's probably still very new. Some of the images I've seen come out of this are a little bit weird. So just a warning, but there you go. You've got pandas in a field. So this particular tool will actually either source images that are existing already, or interestingly enough, it will create images that don't exist. So one of those images, if I have a look and see, is it in here? No, it isn't. All right. I think it's actually here. So just to give you an example of really interesting images, I was using this tool earlier in the week, and I think I put in something like upside down artist, and this is what I got from that text to image tool. So it's obviously created this image itself, and as you can see, it kind of looks well, it looks really interesting, and I really cannot make out what it is. So interesting to play with, like some really funky things that are coming out. And obviously you've then got AI generated music, you've got AI generated text. I mean, the list is endless in terms of what you can create here. All right, I think that's about it, Nick. I'd like to sort of leave some questions, or leave some time for questions. And how about I hand over to you to just see.
All right, excellent. So how many people here, just with a quick show of hands, are overwhelmed with the amount of information, things you can do on Canva? Excellent. Yes, And I have to tell you that Jenny has only had an hour, and she's just really scratched the surface of what is possible in Canva. She hasn't talked about really some videos too much. There's amazing tools and things you can do with video. There is, you can create cartoon strips for yourself, easy way to create cartoon strips, which are very good for websites and social media. There's a whole lot of image creation stuff in there, and editing tools for photos and other images in there, and Canva is able to connect with a ton of different other apps on the web there to really make things a lot quicker for you. She did touch on being able to connect it directly to social media, but they've got things like scheduling tools in there as well too, collaboration tools, so you can actually schedule your social media posts directly from Canva. You don't need another tool, and you can collaborate with other people as well too. You can run seminars, and have collaborative sessions in there as well. So there's a whole lot in there as well that she hasn't been able to touch on, which we'll talk about and give you an opportunity to learn about that there as well. But just for now, we've got a hand up. Elena.
Hi, Nick. Sorry, I can't use my camera at the moment with the bandwidth. I just wondered if Jenny could cover some of the more interesting tools that she can do in a presentation, like some of the, Canva tips on designing a presentation as opposed to PowerPoint.
Oh, you're talking about the slides that you can present like
Yes.
this? Yeah. Probably haven't got too much time.
I'm just trying to see if I've got something here that might. It's quite a lot in here, as you can see. I haven't used the filing system as best as I could. I did have something in there at one point, Nick, but I'm not sure if it's going to be in this account or not. Let's have a look.
Okay.
Very quickly. Oh, okay. So here's one I did for customer service training. So Nick mentioned I worked for a security company previously. I was doing some customer service training for their staff. And this is basically what I pulled together. So again, I just used their colors here. And it's all of the features, Eleanor, that I've talked through today. So the text, the color schemes, using images, looking at layouts that you want. So this is where I would rely heavily on the templates that are already in.
Yeah, sorry, I just thought, sorry, that's fine, and that looks great. I just wondered whether there were any add-ons or animations or particular features that made it more interesting than PowerPoint could.
Yeah, absolutely, you can, but I just can't cover that.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. Thanks, Jenny.
That's okay.
Yeah, there's lots and lots of tools in there for the, which are different, but, so I know what you're talking about in terms of animations and where you can have things appear. All of that's available inside the slides as well too. But again, there's a ton of information for that there, which we'd have to spend probably another 15 minutes or so going through. All right, any other quick questions before we finish up for tonight?
Well, I've got nowhere else to go.
All right, well, what we'll do is let's put our hands together and give Jenny a round of applause. That's been a sensational session.
Thank you, Jenny.
Thank you.
Hopefully you've all learned something and taken something away. As I say, Jenny's really just scratched the surface of it all. Canva is a tool that we use every single day with our team. So all of our social media stuff, or most of it, comes through Canva, and you can manage so much of your collateral, your marketing, even website stuff with Canva. What we didn't touch on tonight too was that you can actually create and host your website inside Canva as well too, and and you can use that for landing pages, for lead capture. You can connect it to your CRM. So there is just so much that you can do with Canva. It is not just a graphic design tool, although it's an excellent graphic design tool, and so many people are now using that tool as professionals. So people moving across from the likes of Photoshop and some of those tools, and being able to produce things so much quicker in this medium too. But the great thing about it is a tool there that is in your hands. You can use it, your team can use it. If you've got virtual assistants, a lot of your virtual assistants are across this as well too. So there is a ton of information in that as well. So really to help with all that, what I thought we'll do is we're going to run a Canva specific program for business for people that want to learn more about how to use this as a business application. So so Jenny will be in with that. I'll be in with that. Jenny will be really working through the graphic design side of things. I'll be looking at how you can apply that to your marketing and web strategy. So some of those tools that we will use those tools in a step-by-step process to help you to create your assets. And it could be sort of things like your social media assets, could be your video assets, could be presentations, and how to work with things like your branding kits, how to ensure that everything you've got is consistent, that how to create templates that you can change, as you need. But it's got that consistent branding with it as well too. How to use some of the photo tools there, like removing, I don't know, you might have had an ex-boyfriend or ex-girlfriend in one of your photos. You don't want them in there anymore. You want to stick Jason Momoa or someone like that in there. You can, they've got tools in there to be able to do that sort of thing quite quickly. Some of you will have known how to sort of remove backgrounds. There's all sorts of things you can do with that as well. But what we are going to do is going to take you through a process of creating things like a lead magnet, creating a landing page with all this here, connecting it through to your CRM, and then sort of using Canva to start to generate traffic too by connecting it to your social media accounts, so that you can really sort of get a lot more sort of traction for you and your business, and to do it quite cost effectively and in a way that it's in your hands, or you can have a virtual assistant in there doing it for you as well too. All the AI features, we'll be running through the AI features that are in there as well, your artificial intelligence. So Magic Write has got a whole lot of powerful functionality inside that as well. And then you can actually connect this to other tools as well to give a whole lot more power. So with this whole AI environment, and we've got someone coming to talk about AI in a couple of weeks' time as well too, with that AI environment, you've got a whole lot more tools that you can use with the likes of Canva to really accelerate your marketing and your graphic image side of things. So we're about to pull up a program for that. It is in beta at the moment. And if you want to find out more about it, we'll throw a link into chat now. So this is a program that is going to start on the 27th of this month. It'll be on a Monday evening for 6 weeks from 5:30 to 7:30 in the evening. And each evening will cover a specific project. So whether that be sort of creating some form of lead magnet, course workbook, presentation, slides, and or whether it's even creating, which is what we did at one session there, was to take an idea from zero to concept to cash in 5 days. So one of the programs we did ran that, and we used Canva to do that with as well. And people that came onto that program were generating some revenue off that program, understanding how to use it. And it was really just using some Canva and connecting with a couple of other tools, but predominantly it was Canva. So it's going to run out on the 27th of March, as I say, for 6 weeks, Monday evening. So Monday evening is going to be the live Zoom sessions, but there is going to be a private Facebook group for that as well to collaborate and share with the ideas you've got to get the support and help that you need. And in all that, there will be some mini tutorials that we'll record separately as as your requests come in for that as well. So as I say, there's a heap of stuff in there, and we really just want to make sure you're making the most of it. Most people only just scratch the surface of it, but this program is really designed for you to dig deep and to really use the tool as a powerful marketing tool for you and your business. So if you're interested in that, have a look at that link that's in chat. It is easyurl.co/Canva. The pricing of it, it's $9.97 for the 6 weeks, or $197 a week as the payment option. So you're welcome to register for that if you're interested in taking that further. And we will be running it, as I say, starting on the 27th. But for tonight's prize draw, we do have a prize draw tonight as well too. And if we bring up our wheel of names, it is an entry, or it is someone who's going to win coming on to that particular workshop, that 6-week workshop that we're running. So if we've got all of your names in the in this Wheel of Names. Anyone interested in coming along to that workshop that would love to win it, just give us a show of hands. Great, fantastic. So all of your names are in there. And remember, in order to win, you have to be in the room. If you're not in the room, then we just go and redraw. So let's give a virtual drum roll as we click the circle, the Wheel of Names, and let's see who our lucky winner tonight is. All right, it's got a few names to get through there tonight. And our lucky winner is Gordon Green. There you go. Gordon, you here on the session at the moment? Let's just check and see.
I'm still here, Nick.
You're still there. Excellent. Perfect. Well, you're the lucky winner of the prize tonight. So well done.
Thank you, Nick.
All right. So let's unshare that screen again. And just like to thank everyone for turning up tonight. It was obviously a popular session because lots of us on. If there were things in there that you would like to see again or that you missed, this will be up on the Smashco YouTube channel tomorrow afternoon. The link for that YouTube channel is now in chat. If you've got some comments and you'd like to ask any more about that, or if you've got an app and a tool that you'd like to share, then you can feel free to share that in the Business Owners Smashing Online Facebook group or send me a message. And if we feature in here, happy to give you credit for that as well too. So that is our session tonight. So again, let's thank Jenny for sharing so generously with us tonight, and look forward to seeing you all back here again next week. Go and have a good night.